Hi, I'm Min from Ponder the Education. Now, as a part three, how to maximize your university education, I will pick up from part one. I spent part two, entire part two to introduce myself. But now it is a part three. I will go back to part one, the story with maximizing the university education. As I mentioned, that Michael Sandel from Harvard, the Professor Michael Sandel from Harvard, is the only the professor that I have met entire my life in education system, education body, who teaches really critical thinking. So what he does is here is that you can watch these lectures, right? So if you watch it, you can see he made the students to think logically and provide their logical thinking process result to share with the other students, and then encourage other students to bring their own idea, and then they kind of debate each other. And what he does is once in a while he added his viewpoint so that students can debate based on that, gradually enhance their logical thinking one by one, step by step. So with this way, he is the only one who, from my experiences, he is the only one that I the providing critical thinking, developing the lectures. And now I have to add it one more, right? The this Dr. Johns in NYU, and based on his claims in here, he moved from memorization to problem solving, which is just the same as this Michael Sandler is providing. Now, because of the but problem with this one is that besides that the as Michael Sandel, if you watch it, then you will notice that this his lecture that he doesn't deal with amount of the knowledge. He doesn't go like A is like this, B is like this. He doesn't do it. So he just focuses on one concept, and then he asks students to build the concept by debating. That's how what he does. So they basically sometimes what the people that I met, what they say is, well, this is lecture. He doesn't really teach anything. I don't know why students should just pay that expensive tuition and then taking his lectures. Some really literally says it because he doesn't teach what he thinks. He doesn't teach the knowledge that he has. Well, think about it in this way. If the knowledge, in terms of the knowledge, you can read about the books. You can read the textbooks. You can read the articles. Then why that we need to teach this knowledge in those knowledge in this university, right? But we will see that the differences in with together with when we compare colleges and universities and high school. Anyway, problem solving, that means that this second part with this lecture, because that the students had to think, that means now let me lower down this one and then let me uh, write down in this way. So as I showed in the part one, to have the problem solving skills, that means that you have to identify the problem, and then you have to analyze the data. To analyze, you need to compare. To compare, you need to the organize data. To organize the data, you need to collect the data. And then to collect data, you need to observe. So there are a series of thinking processes in there, steps. Compare with this learning method to go to the lecture, listen to it, take down note, summarize it, and take a test and get the result, GPA as it comes in. Which one is easier? This is a lot more easier compared to this. Especially when you need to do this by yourself. So if you watch this his lecture, you will find only a few students raise their hand and bravely share their ideas. And a few of them just like right now, as this the screenshot shows, that it's more than like about 200 people, 200 students are there, but only like about 10 or 20 maximum would participate in this lecture, in this debate. That means going through thinking process compared to knowledge and skill learning as an in class as a knowledge, this is a lot more challenging and difficult. Even in the Harvard, only a few are able to do it. Right? So NYU, I was kind of surprised. Only like a 40% of the students were signed on the petition. Well, I expected like a half of them, because if once it is moving towards to the thinking processes, thinking alone is very, very challenging. Now, I will show you why a little more with an example. I'll show you that the reason that the why this happens in education system in this way. Now, let's think about in this way. I'm fishing salmon in these days, and it is a salmon season, so I go to the river and I'm fishing salmon. Let's just compare with fishing with the agile learning steps. When you learn fishing in the beginning, you have no idea how to fish. Then what you need to do? You need to learn. What you need to learn? Knowledge and skills, right? So you need to learn knowledge and skills. So you learned knowledge and skills, and you go to the river and then you try to fish. Now, when you try to fish, this time, now once you catch fish, then your goal is achieved. Then, with this success, you'll feel very excitement. You'll feel you enjoy the time, and then the time worth it now, right? So this is what people expect from the education. When they learn knowledge and skills, they achieve the goals. But problem with this one, even in the fishing, do you think it is easy to achieve what you were looking for? Kind of not really. Okay. So basically, when about this is my experience, probably you can compare with your time in when you are starting new hobby. For example, you try to engage in new gaming or sport game or activities like tennis or golf or whatever that you think that you wanted to do, and think about how many people who started with you together, and think about how many people continue with that specific hobby longer, right? In my case, I about started about 10 people, new people in the fishing. Only one or two people left. What happened to the last of them? They gave up. The reason was, well, they say, okay, I learned about this salmon fishing. I went fishing, didn't get anything. It is very difficult to achieve what they were looking for. Then, if they cannot get anything, well, there's nothing they can enjoy about. Then they have to put these gears into the garage, or they have to sell it out. So this is a reality, right? this is how it works for the colleges, especially the focusing on the job skills and knowledge for the job. For example, BCIT, as I said, that the when they say 90, or let's say 95% over. I'm if I remember correctly, it is over 97% for sure. But let's say 95%. 95% of those students can get a job. What that means is, well, if 10 started, 9 over 9 will get fish. Then what happens? They will enjoy. They will feel success. They feel achievable. This is how it works, right? That means, let's say if there is one person who is expert in the fishing, and then there are 10 people came and then, teach us how to fish. And then that person went out there and then just line up for the fishing and catch fish. And there were like a total of 10 students there. And then 9 out of 10 caught fish. Then this teacher is excellent, right? That's where the BCIT or the colleges that focusing on skills and knowledges for the jobs are about. Students are happy because they could get a job after and they got what they want for, right? High school is preparing for them to catch fish, right? But high school is a little bit different from the universities. So let me just focus on the university for now. Okay. So basically, what happens is that the some colleges like BCIT, like colleges, they are successful because they really teach how to fish, and then students are really getting the fish. But problem is when it comes to the other universities, like SFU, UBC, or some any universities that are not focusing on the skills and knowledge for the jobs, then what happens? Let's say you go on fishing and you tried and you learned, right? But you didn't learn hands-on training. You didn't get hands-on training, so there is no the experience the angler in here to teach you, and now it is you who needs to do fishing by yourself. Then what happened? You probably have a higher chance to fail. So if you fail to catch fish, then how would you feel? Not very good, not successful. If you don't feel successful, then you lose your kind of confidence in that field. Then you are automatically started drifting out of it. Well, in the university generally, because the environment forces students to graduate, many of them will just keep going on. But will be some of the students. There are some students who dropping out of it. Okay, this is a reality. Okay? Then think about it this. Ask yourself a question like this: why university leave the students to do this by themselves? Why? But l- let me just make it clear. In these days, even universities started changing to hands-on training by providing some kind of like internships or providing some tutorials or something like that. They try to provide a hands-on training. Okay, just like a PCIT, but in this case, the not only knowledge and skills for the jobs, but the topics that they have to learn, hands-on training. But I don't think it'll be successful well, it'll be successful for a little increase a little bit more efficiencies, but it won't be successful as people think. Anyway, then you have to ask questions why. Why universities is different? Why they don't just provide the skills just like a knowledge and skills just like a BCIT? There is a reason. Uh, the universities are focusing on the research. Research means that the exploring unknown. Okay, this is the reason. That means, let's say, compare with the fishing. You go out there, and then you have the river, and then you started fishing right here, right? And you didn't have experience, right? Then, if someone teaches you how to fish right here and hands-on training, okay, do this, do this, do this, and practice this, and then now build this skill, and then if you throw a cast over this spot, then your flow will flow like this, then you will be able to catch fish. So you follow it, then you could catch a fish. When you try by yourself, what happens? If no one provides you any information, you just try to cast as others, but it doesn't work. Yeah, because your setting is different from others, and then there's no one can actually examine you or how your gears were set, and then how you float out. No one's give you any advice, nothing. Then you have to figure it out by yourself. Then question is, why university left the students to do this by themselves? There's a reason. In the research field, exploring unknown is the goal. Now, let's say this was place A. Now, let's people moved to place B because in BC last year there was a flooding. So when I went to the this fishing spot, rivers are some of the part is reversed. Flow is totally reversed. So access was changing from here to there, and then there's a pools are disappears, so there's no real deep pools for the fish to stay, and it's like all breaking down. So you have to find a new spot. So now you, because of that, you went to the new fishing. And then this time there's no teacher, there's no experienced the guy there to teach you. So you just went in and you fish. What happens? University students or BCIT graduate students graduated from BCIT, both are now have to figure out by themselves. Why? Because this is totally new setting. Everything is different. This is research. You have to figure out by yourself. So, university is a place where to prepare the students to be researchers, not for the jobs that is based on the knowledge and skill. Well, knowledge and skills, even they are learning in their skills, they have to develop their new skills and new the approaches by themselves as well. Okay. I think when as I started making this video, I thought I was cut down in every 15 minutes, but it seems it gets longer and longer. So now it is over about 20 minutes. So I'll set it as a 20 minutes. Okay. So let me finish this in here. Okay. So that's the difference between university and the colleges that focus on the skills and knowledge for the jobs. Okay. Then now, what does this mean? What life you are looking for is that your determination that which career that you want to go with, right? So university education is not for all, okay? So I will continue this story in this is part 3, so part 4.